Good morning. We're on the record, and the time is 10:50 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on December 4th, 2025, to begin the deposition of Daniel D. Bressler in the matter of Sam de Sylva versus City of Pasadena et al. This case is venued in Los Angeles County Superior Court's Stanley Moss Courthouse. This case number is 23-ST-CV-13132. This deposition is taking place at Romero Law, 251 South Lake Avenue, Pasadena, California, 91101. The legal videographer is Brian Fortuna on behalf of Steno, and the court reporter is Malia Basavan, also on behalf of Steno. Will the counsel please identify yourselves and state whom represent?
Alan Romero, I'm the deposing attorney, and I'm the attorney for Plaintiff Sam de Sylva in the action.
Hi, Brad Gage Law, also on behalf of the Plaintiff de Sylva.
Sonia Salinas, Hanson Bridget, on behalf of Mr. Bressler and the City of Pasadena.
Christina Gasparian on behalf of Lieutenant Russo.
Shoot, Deputy Chief, City of Pasadena.
Thank you. Will the court reporter please swear in the witness?
Please raise your right hand, Mr. Bressler. Do you solemnly affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you give in this proceeding shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. You can put your hand up. You may proceed, counsel.
Good morning, Mr. Bressler.
Good morning.
Have you ever had your deposition taken before?
Yes, I have.
How many times?
I want to say 2 or 3 times. It's been years.
Okay. Can you give us generally the circumstances relating to those depositions? Not too much detail, just so we get a baseline of your deposition experience.
The last deposition was, my goodness, had to be 4 or 5 years ago. It was a conduct issue with a couple police officers.
If I can assist, were these in your capacity as a law enforcement officer or in your
No.
capacity as an independent investigator?
Independent investigator. It was you know what? I'm not going to speculate. It was 4 or 5 years ago, and it was involving law enforcement, and that's the best I can tell you.
And these were investigations that you undertook?
Correct.
Okay. And as an outside investigator?
Correct.
How long have you been an outside investigator for law enforcement agencies?
I do cases that involve law enforcement, and I've been a private investigator since 2015.
Okay. Prior to being a private investigator, were you a sworn law enforcement officer?
Yes.
What year did you first become a sworn law enforcement officer?
1979.
Okay. So this is a little different than a normal conversation, but it's very normal for people to be helpful in normal conversation and want to jump in on an answer or talk over each other a bit. I do it all the time. It's taken me 19 years to get really good at giving the other person space so the court reporter can take it all down. So if you could just do me a favor, you're doing fine, but as we get later in the day, we may want to jump in on each other. We'll try and avoid that so there's a clear record. Is that okay?
That's okay.
Okay. And you understand you're under oath and all those things about not speculating and best estimates and recipient knowledge, and you understand those concepts?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So we can dispose of the admonitions?
We could.
Okay. What's the first police agency you worked for?
Newport Beach Police Department.
How long were you employed by the Newport Beach Police Department?
I was employed with them from 1976 to 1979.
As a police officer?
I was a cadet, and then I was a emergency services dispatcher.
What was your first job as a sworn law enforcement officer?
Deputy Sheriff, Orange County Sheriff's Department.
Commencing what year?
May of 1979.
Did you attend the Sheriff's Academy?
I did.
Where?
The academy was in the city of Orange. It was the Orange County Sheriff's Academy on Catella. Was it Orange or Anaheim? Right by Anaheim Stadium.
How long did you work for the Orange County Sheriff's Department?
17 years.
And what rank did you separate from the Orange County Sheriff's Department?
Sergeant.
Okay. And remind me what year that was?
I left Orange County in 1996.
Where'd you go next?
Riverside County.
Sheriff's Department?
Yes.
And at what rank did you lateral into the Riverside County Sheriff's Department?
I lateraled as a deputy.
How long did you work for the Riverside County
3 years.
Sheriff's Department?
Yes.
Okay. What rank did you leave the Riverside County Sheriff's Department at?
Sergeant.
So you promoted to sergeant at the Riverside County Sheriff's
I
Department?
did.
Okay. You just give me a moment to finish my questions so we have a clear record. I apologize, I don't mean to
No,
be.
I'm fine.
Okay, thank you.
These are the easy ones.
They are. Well, I think they'll all be easy, but we'll find out as we get along in time. Where'd you go next?
The Tuolumne County Sheriff's Department. Tuolumne.
Is that a California county?
It is.
And how long were you employed at the Tuolumne County Sheriff's Department?
10 years.
What rank did you lateral in at?
Deputy.
So you took a step back career-wise?
I did.
Was it nice living up there?
Tuolumne County is fantastic. It's beautiful. It's everything. Yeah.
So how long were you with that sheriff's department?
10 years.
What rank were you when you completed your time with that county sheriff's department?
Lieutenant.
What year was that?
2009.
Where'd you go next?
Desert Hot Springs Police Department.
What was your rank when you were first hired by the Desert Hot Springs Police Department?
Sergeant.
Okay. And how long were you with the Desert Hot Springs Police Department?
6 years.
About how many employees at the Desert Hot Springs Police Department at the time you separated or retired?
What was the size of the department?
How many sworn officers, approximately?
Oh, gosh. Between 20 and 30.
What was your rank when you finished your career at at Desert Hot Springs?
The last, so I was made the interim police chief. I took off for cancer treatment, and when I was officially reinstated, I was commander, but I never worked. I never worked again. When I went off, I never went back.
And is that the last work you did as a sworn law enforcement
Was
officer?
as the interim police chief for the Desert Hot Springs Police Department.
Can you tell us briefly about your experiences with internal affairs investigations at your various positions in law enforcement?
I was-
ambiguous compound.
Sorry.
Give me the answer.
So real quick, so thank you for pausing. Your attorney will make some objections today. That's fine, it's her job. And unless you're instructed not to answer, you can go ahead and give me an answer, but always give her
Okay.
a moment, like a little bit of breathing room, and then you can proceed. So her
Okay.
objection has been made on the record. So what was your response to the question? If, to the best of my recollection, the question was, what has been your experience with internal affairs investigations while you were sworn a law enforcement officer, with the same objection on the record?
As a supervisor for all the agencies I worked with, I was involved in internal affairs investigations. As a lieutenant at Tuolumne County, I was responsible for internal affairs investigations. As a commander at the Desert Hot Springs Police Department, I was responsible for internal affairs investigations. All along throughout my career, I was involved in internal affairs investigations, so there were scores of them.
What did you do after you retired from Desert Hot Springs? Career-wise.
I became a licensed private investigator.
And at what point did you go work for Norman A. Traub and Associates?
2017,
So how long had you been out of Desert Hot Springs by that point?
2 years.
So what did you do for those interim 2 years professionally?
I did other types of investigations. I did family law investigations. I did I did defense work for people who were accused of crimes. I did surveillances of all kinds of different crimes. I was assigned, just very generally, I took in whatever cases came to me. Background investigations, frauds, thefts, I mean, you name it.
When's the first time you did an investigation relating to the Pasadena Police Department?
That's an excellent question.
That's why I asked.
I can tell you I've done a handful of them. The very first one, gosh, I don't remember.
So this Russo, we'll strike that. You did an investigation for the Pasadena Police Department related to Lieutenant Anthony Russo, correct?
Yes,
So you had done work for the City of Pasadena as an investigator prior to that
I
investigation?
believe so, yes. I don't think that was the first case I worked for the City of Pasadena.
But how many, about how many of these investigations did you do for the City of Pasadena prior to the Russo investigation that you undertook on behalf of Norman A. Traub, Traub, and Associates?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
Do you have any recollection of what type of investigations there were?
I know what generally I've done there. I just don't know the order that they came in.
Can you tell me generally what it is that you did at the City of Pasadena as an investigator after you became a licensed private investigator?
Without naming names.
Without naming names.
I worked on a case that involved their Public Works Department, 3 employees there. I worked on a case that involved an IT guy and his interactions with library staff. I worked on a case that was a racial discrimination case that stemmed from their Parks and Rec department. That's all I can remember.
Did you prepare a report? And without telling me the conclusions or any identities, did you prepare a report for the case you did involving a public works employee at Pasadena?
Yes, there were 2 to 3 public works employees involved in that particular case, and yes, I did a report.
What were the general allegations without too much specificity? Public works.
Time card fraud was involved. It involved employees who did not work their full shifts, but yet put in the hours for it.
Did you prepare a report in connection with this investigation?
Yes.
Did you complete the investigation?
Yes.
Did you conduct interviews in connection with your investigation into time card fraud at the Pasadena Public Works Department?
Yes.
Did your report contain findings?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know if it did or not.
Because you don't remember, or you don't wish to tell me?
I don't remember if I did findings on that case. I remember another case I worked, though.
What's that other case you worked?
It involved an employee, community services division employee who had a weapon at work.
So the public works case, we talked about that a bit. You don't recall if your report had any findings?
No.
Did the IT worker investigation, did you do a report for that one?
I did.
Okay. Did that one have any findings?
I don't recall on findings. Every case is different.
So, okay. The racial discrimination case at Parks and Recreation, did you complete a report?
I did.
Did that report have any findings?
I don't know if I did findings for any of these.
And the Community Services Department investigation involving someone with a weapon, did you do a final report in that investigation?
I did.
Okay. Did that one have any findings?
I don't know if it was just facts or if there was findings involved.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Did you ever make any findings in a written report with respect to the Anthony Russo investigation?
I did.
Were you asked to remove those findings at some point?
Yes.
By whom?
I worked with HR. That's the best I could tell you, and I know it was someone from HR.
Okay. Well, let's look at Exhibit 60. And give me one moment. I'm short on copies, so I'll have to share one copy. I will let your attorney review Exhibit 60. I'd represent is an email chain between yourself, we'll find out, and a Alexander Soto, S-O-U-T-O.
Correct.
And produced in discovery, beginning with city's base stamp 4887 through 4892.
Okay.
And we'll look at the first page.
Yes.
So, do you remember who Alex Soto is
Yes, he was my HR contact.
at the City of Pasadena?
Yes, sir.
Is he the one that asked you to change the findings? Strike that. Did Mr. Soto ask you to change the findings of your report into Lieutenant Russo? Can you take a moment to review the document? We're done.
Yeah, let me look through this email.
Sure. And I would call your attention, we are going to talk about the highlighted portions.
Sure.
And I think there's some highlights there that are internal antivirus announcements, but the actual text that I've highlighted are the portions that I'd like to discuss in particularity with you.
Sure.
Are you ready to discuss these?
Yes, sir.
Just for clarity, you highlighted the document.
Well, just for clarity, there's highlighted text, which is me, and then there are red boxes that talk about phishing attacks, which are internal city.
Thank you.
With a red bounding box, do you see
Sure,
that, sir?
yeah.
Okay, just so we have a clear record, because
Yes.
some people might not be seeing these documents when they read this transcript.
Okay.
Okay. So you remember Alex Soto, correct?
Yes, I do.
And to what extent did Mr. Soto direct your investigation into Lieutenant Anthony Russo?
He was my primary contact at HR.
But to what extent did he give you directions as to how you would conduct the investigation?
Lex Foundation. You may answer.
He would have provided me all the documentation to start the case with. And past that, I don't know how to answer that question.
Did he tell you to remove the findings from any of your reports?
I don't remember who told me to remove. It would have been someone from HR. And he was my primary contact, so I can tell you that.
Okay. But someone from City of Pasadena looked at a report of yours and told you to remove findings. Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
Okay. What do you remember about that instruction? How was it communicated? What do you remember?
I just remember that they asked the findings not to be included in the report.
Do you recall in any of your other various investigations for the City of Pasadena, someone from HR telling you to remove findings from one of your reports? Do you recall that as you sit here today?
No, sir.
Is that something that's unusual based on your experience?
No.
How many times has strike that. How many times have you been told to remove findings from a final investigative report that you've personally prepared?
Typically not. It's typically not after I've done the report.
Can you recall, I won't get into specifics to protect confidentiality, can you remember any other circumstances where a municipal or government client asked you to remove findings from a finalized report that you prepared?
I don't remember that happening.
So as we sit here today, the only time you remember a public entity client telling you to remove findings from a final report was the City of Pasadena in connection with the findings against Lieutenant Russo, correct?
I specifically remember that, yes.
And you can't remember any other instances like that as we sit here today?
As I'm sitting here today, I don't recall at what stage I'm told to take findings out. Typically at the beginning, they don't want findings. But if it's not clear, I can't recall any other times.
How was the scope of this investigation determined? Was it determined by an engagement letter?
I couldn't tell you that. I don't know the answer to that question.
Were you informed at the onset of the investigation that the City of Pasadena did or did not want findings or conclusions in their report into the Lieutenant Russo allegations?
No, I don't remember if it said that or not.
So at what point do you recall someone from City of Pasadena telling you to take findings out of the Russo investigative report?
I can speculate that it happened after I submitted it, but I don't remember when it was told to me. I don't remember when that was told to me.
Was it told to you verbally, or was it done through an email?
It could have been done at the very beginning, and I just didn't see it, or it was an oversight on my part.
Okay. Well, let's see if this document helps to refresh our recollection. So let's take a look at page 1 of this exhibit.
Yeah.
Again, this is Bate stamp 4887.
Mm-hmm.
This is an email from you, Dan Bressler, pi@yahoo.com. Is that an email address that you used for business purposes?
Yes.
In connection with this investigation?
Yes.
To an Alexander Soto with the City of Pasadena.net email address?
Yes.
Is this an email that you sent? The second half, the bottom portion of this.
It appears to have been from me, yes.
So, first line says, the report is out to proof. I should have it to you tomorrow or Wednesday at the latest.
Yes.
Were they asking you for the report this time? Do you recall?
I don't recall that.
Okay. The next line, it says, I want you guys to review the entire report before I finalize anything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't usually do it that way, this way, but I think under the circumstances, it's best. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
What were the circumstances that you thought it was best to have the agency review the report before you finalized it?
I don't know.
Was it because they had asked you to do that?
I don't remember the circumstances of this at all.
How many investigations have you done in your career as a law enforcement officer and as a private investigator, approximately?
Vague and ambiguous.
How many investigations?
Strike that. How many interviews have you done during your career as a police officer and as a private investigator?
Vague and ambiguous. Calls for speculation.
How many interviews have I done? That number would be in the thousands.
And do you use something called credibility factors when evaluating the truthfulness of a particular witness in an interview?
You do those, yes.
Okay. And what are credibility factors? What credibility factors did you use in your investigation for the City of Pasadena?
Vague and ambiguous.
Let me ask that one again. What credibility factors did you use in evaluating the testimony of witnesses you interviewed in connection with the Russo investigation for the City of Pasadena?
I know I bullet point that at the beginning of the reports. I would have to look at the bullet points.
Is a witness's cooperation with the investigation, is that a credibility factor?
Did you say corroboration or
Cooperation.
I would have to look and see if that was a factor.
Well, do you think that's a factor as you sit here today?
incomplete hypothetical?
It could be. It isn't telling. It doesn't tell me anything.
How about evasiveness? Does evasiveness tell you something?
Yes.
What does evasiveness tell you?
That person doesn't want to answer the question that I asked.
And what is a witness not wanting to answer a question that you asked? What does that tell you about their credibility?
That it doesn't help their credibility. It's a factor.
What about witnesses that claim that they don't have any recall of specific events? How does that affect their credibility?
It's a factor.
Incomplete hypothetical related objection. But
Sorry, it's a factor, depending on how long, time spans are and those types of things.
How is that a factor?
If it just happened recently and they say they don't remember, that tends to lessen their credibility.
How about a witness who is examining documents that they prepared and they have no recollection of the facts that they wrote down in those documents? How would you evaluate a witness's credibility on that basis?
incomplete hypothetical, vague and ambiguous.
It's fact specific. It depends on how long ago it was. It depends on how specific the notation is. It depends on a lot of things.
Well, let's take a look at the document in front of you.
Okay.
Would you say that your language here is specific, that you said you want the city to review the entire report before you finalized anything? Is that specific language?
That is specific language.
And as you sit here today, you have no recall of why you wrote this language or what the significance of that language is?
I can't speculate on that. I don't know. I don't remember what was going through my mind in January 2022.
Okay. How about the next sentence? I don't usually do it this way, but I think under the circumstances it's best. You wrote that, sir,
I
correct?
did. Yes.
Okay. And would you say that's pretty specific language?
That's what I wrote.
Okay. Well, because you wrote it, can you tell us why you wrote that language?
I don't remember what I was referring to. I don't remember why I chose to do that. It was the circumstances at the time. That's what I did.
But you do recall that the City of Pasadena told you to alter your final report with respect to Lieutenant Russo, correct?
Yes.
Misstates testimony,
Yes.
and it's been asked and answered. You go on.
I recall I was asked to take out the findings.
Okay. As an investigator, did you think it was a best practice to permit a client to remove findings from an investigative report involving law enforcement misconduct?
No, and because I don't remember if I was told that before I even submitted the report, and if I possibly overlooked it. So I couldn't tell you in that case whether that was appropriate or not.
So are you telling me that the first report you submitted did not have findings?
Misstates testimony.
No. No, it did.
And some of the allegations against Lieutenant Russo you found were substantiated, correct?
I'm going to instruct him not to answer because pursuant to the pitches order, that information was ordered not disclosed by the court.
So are you going to take your attorney's instruction not to answer?
I think that would probably be the best.
Okay. I just need to make a record. I'm
Sure,
not
no, I understand.
pointing my finger. That's another attorney I'm dealing with right now that points fingers, not me. So, that being said, I'm going to ask some questions about who's representing you today. And we're going to get some objections, so I will go slow, but I need to ask them to create a record.
Of course.
So right now you're being represented by the same attorney that's representing the City of Pasadena in the current lawsuit by Lieutenant Sam Sylva against the Pasadena Police Department, correct?
Yes.
Is that something that you voluntarily want to take place, to be represented by the same attorney as the city?
I needed representation, and now I have representation.
Okay. Did you sign a conflict waiver permitting the attorneys to represent yourself and the City of Pasadena in the litigation?
I'm going to instruct him not to answer.
Okay. Are you taking your attorney's instruction not to answer?
Yes.
Okay, I would mark that as the second instruction not to answer. I'd like to mark the first one as well.
No problem.
Okay. Who is currently paying for your law firm to defend you in this deposition?
Again, I'm going to instruct him not to answer. He's being represented, and you're not entitled to the details of our relationship or our communications.
Okay. Are you taking your attorney's instruction not to answer?
Yes.
Okay, I'd ask the court reporter to mark that as a third refusal to answer. Have you ever testified in an action related to litigation where you had conducted investigation and prepared a report in connection with the underlying facts of the litigation?
Ask me that one more time.
Sure, I will. That was a tongue twister.
Okay.
Have you ever testified in a case involving a lawsuit where you were the investigator and you wrote a report involving the subject of the lawsuit?
Ever.
Since you've been a private investigator?
I know I've been called to a couple hearings. I don't know if I got in the room or not. I can't remember any other hearings where I've testified as I'm sitting here right now, as a private investigator. Doesn't happen much.
So, did you let the City of Pasadena review your report in the Russo investigation before you finalized it?
Asked and answered. You can answer again.
Yes.
How many versions of that report did you prepare?
The one I submitted first and the one I submitted, I think, the day after.
So as you said here today, you recall 2 separate reports that you did for the City of Pasadena?
Vague and ambiguous.
Yes, that's what I remember.
So if there was one report on January 22nd, 2022, and another on January 23rd, 2022, that would comport with your recollection of how
Yes.
many reports you took?
Yes.
Okay. Did you in fact do another report, a third version of the report, on July 18th, 2022?
Vague and ambiguous, lacks foundation.
Of the same report?
I think so. I'm looking at it, but I'm asking for your best recollection as you sit here today.
I don't think the same report. I don't remember that.
How many investigations did you do in connection with Lieutenant Russo on behalf of the Pasadena Police Department?
2.
And to what extent was there overlap between the 2 investigations
Vague and ambiguous.
in terms of witnesses?
I know there was some. I would have to look at the witness lists. I recall Lieutenant Sylva, of course, Russo, Miles Irving, may have been both. I'd have to look at the witness lists.
Did you provide drafts of these reports to the Pasadena Police Department Internal Affairs Department?
If you're asking if I provided them, I don't know. I don't remember that.
Do you not maintain a tracking log of where you distribute these reports to?
Typically, I use email for that.
Okay.
And I know email is discoverable, and I figure that's my tracking.
Okay. So let's look at the document in front of you.
Okay.
Okay, let's look at the second page of that document.
Okay.
What's the base number again, Alan?
So we're going to look at 4887. It's an email of January 10th, 2022. No, actually, we'll look at 4888, an email from yourself to Soto.
Yes.
At 10:21 a.m. Do you see that email asking if did you get everything okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What were you referring to if you got everything okay?
There was a lot of documentation involved in all of this. So for me to be able to tell you in this moment what I sent him, I don't know. I don't remember.
As an investigator, why didn't you list the documents that you had sent to Mr. Soto in this email?
Why didn't I?
Yes.
There's a limit to what I record and keep track of, and I just didn't.
Is that to avoid obligations to produce documents in discovery?
Argumentative.
If it's in my notes, then I recorded it. That's what I'll tell you.
So why didn't you record what documents you were transmitting to Mr. Soto as part of your investigation into Lieutenant Russo?
Asked and answered. You can answer again.
Because I don't record everything that I do.
Did you record everything you did with respect to interviewing witnesses in the Russo investigation?
Vague and ambiguous.
Everything is a rough term. Everything is hard to answer to.
Do you not understand, and I don't mean this to be rude.
I know, I
okay.
get it.
Okay. Do you not understand the term everything as it's used in a common parlance, as we discussed?
Everything could mean, did we chat before or after? It could mean anything. Did I record the interviews? Yes. Okay. Audio.
What is the purpose of an independent investigator investigating?
To bring a neutral perspective into a case and to take it from there.
So did you bring a neutral point of view into this investigation to Lieutenant Russo?
Yes.
Okay. And this neutral point of view resulted in some findings, correct?
Correct.
And those findings sustained certain allegations against Lieutenant Russo.
I'm instructing him not to answer. We're not answering what his findings were.
I can't answer that then.
Okay. So are you taking your attorney's instruction not to answer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'd ask the reporter to mark that as a refusal to answer. Let's look at email. So let me withdraw that.
Okay.
Let me ask a different question. Does permitting a client to alter the findings of an investigative report impact your neutrality as an independent investigator?
Not necessarily.
Why not?
It depends on the circumstances. Each case is different.
Well, let's talk about these circumstances. Did the City of Pasadena telling you to remove findings from your investigation into Lieutenant Russo constitute a abridgment of your independence as an investigator?
Vague and ambiguous.
You said alter findings. I didn't alter any findings, so I'll say that. Again, it's so difficult to recall the exact conversations I had. They asked me to take the findings out, which I did not think was out of line, and I took them out.
Okay. Did you record the fact in any email that you were instructed to remove findings from the report?
All my emails are discoverable, and I don't keep any further record than that.
But 'cause I'll represent, I looked through them, I couldn't find anything. So
Okay.
I'm asking as you sit here today,
Yeah.
do you recall writing an email or a note or any type of writing or recording, voice note, handwritten note, memorializing the fact that the City of Pasadena asked you to remove findings from your independent investigation into misconduct against Lieutenant Russo?
Argumentative. Asked and answered. Let me answer again.
I would have to refer to my notes. Otherwise, I can't sit here and answer that. I don't know if it was a phone call. I don't know email. I don't know how I got the direction.
So my question's a little different.
Okay.
And I think
I'm
it's
trying.
a plain question. I understand. And if you weren't, I'd let you know. I think you're doing as best you can under the circumstances. So my question is, as we sit here today, do you recall any document of any type created by you or anyone else that you are aware of that memorializes the fact that the City of Pasadena asked you to remove findings from the Russo report?
No.
Why didn't you memorialize that instruction in writing?
I would have to answer that the same way. I just don't write everything down.
Is that a best practice as an investigator to not write down instructions from a client relating to instructions to remove findings from a final report?
Argumentative, incomplete, hypothetical. You may answer.
I mean, it would have, is that not best practice? I would have preferred to have done it so I wouldn't have to answer these questions, because I don't remember how I got that direction. So I don't know how else to answer that question. Best practice, we do what we do, and it's what we do.
Okay. Let's look at 4892 that might refresh your recollection.
Okay.
At 4892, in Exhibit 60, there is an email from yourself to Mr. Soto saying, "Can I call you in 10 minutes?" That email is January 19th, 2022 at 1:09 p.m. Do you see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Soto replies to you January 19th, 2022 at 1:12 p.m. He says, "Yes, that works. Thank you." Did you call him in 10 minutes?
I don't know. I would typically have followed up with that, yes. But did I factually? I don't know.
Isn't it true that on January 19th, 2022, you had a phone call with Mr. Soto, where Mr. Soto instructed you to remove the findings from your independent investigation into misconduct against Lieutenant Anthony Russo?
Asked and answered. You can answer again.
I don't recall any phone conversations with Alex Soto.
They didn't happen?
I just don't recall what we talked about.
Did you take any notes about any conversation you had with Mr. Soto?
I would have to defer and refer to my notes that I provided.
Okay. Well, as you sit here today, do you have any recollection that you took any notes about any discussion you had with Mr. Soto about removing findings from the Russo report?
Asked and answered. You may answer again.
No, I don't remember.
Is it true that you didn't take any notes about that conversation and the instructions given to you in that conversation because you want to avoid them becoming discoverable in subsequent litigation?
Argumentative.
I don't think like that. So no, that's not something that I even think about.
What methodology did you use to create the final report in the Russo investigation involving the kicking allegation by Lieutenant Sylva? Generally.
Vague and ambiguous.
I interviewed the person that he kicked. I interviewed the witnesses that may have been there, and I interview Mr. Russo, and you base off those interviews and the totality of the circumstances that you learn. That's how you base your report. It's based on your interviews and what you learn.
And did you record all of the interviews that you conducted in connection with the investigation?
Yes.
Okay. Did you, in fact, present your report to the Pasadena Police Department command staff at some point?
Yes.
Okay. About when did that take place? Let me ask a better question.
Yeah.
How contemporaneous with your finalization of the report on January 23rd, 2022, did you present to the Pasadena Police Department command staff about this investigation?
I'm guessing. Yeah, I'm guessing. A month. 2 months.
And who was present during that meeting?
Command staff was there. A representative from the city attorney's office was there. Specific members of command staff, I don't know which were there. I don't know names at this point.
Do you recall if the chief was at that meeting?
Vague and ambiguous.
No.
Do you recall if Deputy Chief Shute was at the meeting?
Specifically, no.
Who do you remember being at that meeting besides yourself?
I don't know names of who was in that room.
Were you treated with respect and professionality during your presentation to command staff?
Vague and ambiguous, but you may answer.
Yes.
How long did the presentation last?
Maybe an hour, maybe an hour and a half, something like that.
On the way out of that meeting, did you run into a Lieutenant Carolyn Gordon in the building?
I don't remember.
Do you recall telling Carolyn Gordon anything about what happened in that meeting where you presented to command staff?
I don't remember Carolyn Gordon. I don't remember her.
You don't know who that is?
No.
Do you recall telling Carolyn Gordon that command staff's reaction to your report was, in your words, unprofessional?
Lacks foundation. You may answer.
I don't remember saying that.
Do you recall telling anyone that your interactions with the Pasadena Police Department in connection with this investigation were, quote, unprofessional?
In connection with the investigation, or command staff that was in the room during that presentation?
The larger question, so in connection with the investigation, did anyone treat you unprofessionally?
Yes.
Who?
Russo.
How so?
He was evasive. He was very difficult to interview. He didn't answer my questions in some cases. His representative was extremely unprofessional and extremely hostile, extremely rude, and that bled over to Lieutenant Russo. And the way they treated me during that interview was extremely unprofessional.
And his representative, you know, if that was a union representative or if it was an attorney?
It was an attorney.
And you said he was evasive?
Yes.
How was he evasive?
He didn't answer my questions. He talked in circles.
Okay. And why did him not answering your questions, these are obvious, I'll take a step back, these are obvious questions, I just want to make a clear record.
Sure.
So why was his refusal to answer your questions a hindrance to your investigation?
Because I am a fact finder, and when they answer the questions directly, that helps me make findings and be better, it helps a better report.
Did Russo refuse to answer certain questions of yours?
There's no refusals. Typically, we don't allow for refusals. Typically, you make them answer the question. You direct them to answer the question.
Were there certain questions that he responded that he didn't know or he didn't recall the answers to those questions?
Yes.
Okay. How many times did he tell you he didn't recall a specific fact? Roughly.
Yeah, I can't answer that. I asked him 100 questions.
Okay. Well, of those 100 questions, approximately how many of them did he claim that he had no recollection?
I couldn't tell you as I'm sitting here right now.
Okay. Did Russo's refusal to answer questions, strike that. Do you know how many drafts you did of your report into the allegation of kicking by Lieutenant Russo?
Asked and answered. Vague and ambiguous.
So not final, but drafts. Was there a specific number of drafts that you did that you can recall as you sit here today?
No.
Did you distribute the drafts to the city before they were finalized? Or did you only distribute finalized versions of the report to the city?
have to get clarity here.
Sure.
Very often, what I would do would be to send a copy to the entity, and with the idea that if they see any technical issues, anything that needs misspellings of names, things of that nature, that I will take that into consideration. So was that a draft that I sent them? I guess technically you could call it a draft. So in answer to that question, whether I call it a draft or whether I call it a final copy, it depends. It depends.
Depends on what?
Depends on the situation. It depends on the circumstances of the case. It depends on any number of things.
Well, tell me, based on the situation and circumstances of this case, what your response would be to that question.
It's the same answer.
You don't know.
Technical issues, if there's misspellings, obvious grammar issues, those types of things, then I want them to tell me, yeah, you spelled De Silva's name wrong. Or he doesn't work here, he works here. Those types of things. So that's not unusual at all.
So fixing typos is not unusual, correct? In these reports?
I'll say that's correct, yeah.
And how is that communicated to you by clients? Is that done over the phone or via email generally?
It's always different. I've had clients return them to me with, they'll make the corrections on the sheet of paper, scan them, and send them back to me.
Did that happen in this case?
I don't recall how that was done.
If you had gotten a version that was marked up and sent back to you, would you have retained that in your records?
I retain what I submitted. That's what I retain. I mean, I start from day one and I write a paragraph in a report. I don't save all of that. I don't save it all along the way.
Let's take we'll switch gears a tiny bit. Okay. I'm going to mark this as Exhibit 61.
Okay.
It's a newspaper article. I'd like to ask you about a particular statement here. Give me 1 second. Let me pull it up on my screen.
Sure. I had not seen this.
Right. So you can go ahead and read it. And specifically, there's some underlying language I want to ask you about, but I'll give you a moment. And then I don't have a copy for your attorney, so we'll give both of you enough time to get a good look at it.
Is there a base step number for that document?
No, it's something I printed out. I'll tell you so you can look it up now. It's Pasadena Now. The story is called, not a very good name for the story. It says, online story about police lieutenant's lawsuit prompts city response.
Do you want me to read this whole thing, or do you want me to read what's underlined?
Your choice. I'm only going to ask you questions about what's underlined, but you're welcome to review the entire document. And for counsel on the internet, again, it's Pasadena Now, online story about police lieutenant's lawsuit prompts city response.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Okay.
So,
Can I see it?
yes, sorry.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
All right, so I'd like to read from the second page of the exhibit. I'm going to read into the record a paragraph that I underlined that the witness had a chance to review. Open quote. The City of Pasadena is aware of the allegations Lieutenant De Sylva has raised in his employment lawsuit relating to traffic section citations and officer time records. Similar allegations were raised by Lieutenant De Sylva in 2022. Those allegations were investigated by an independent third party and were not sustained. Close quote. Pasadena Public Information Lisa Derderian said. Have you ever spoken to Pasadena Public Information Officer Lisa Derderian?
Not to my knowledge. I don't remember ever, I don't know that name.
Okay. Is this a factual statement that these allegations were investigated by an independent third party and were not sustained?
Vague and ambiguous, calls for speculation.
Is that true or false as you sit here today?
I don't remember what the findings that I came up with regarding these issues. I don't know that it's true or false.
Okay. So you didn't review reports in preparation for your deposition today?
I read the reports. I don't recall what my findings were on the on these other issues. This is partial. This is very partial, it's too vague. I can't answer that question.
Partial in what sense?
There was a lot of things talked about in our interviews. These were two things: that traffic section citations and officer time records. Those issues were a sliver of what we talked about.
So as you sit here today, you don't know if this statement is truthful or
No,
accurate?
I don't. And I don't even know if I'm the independent third party that they're talking about, because, like I said, these were tiny parts of the whole overall investigation. So I don't even know if there was another one that had to do with these specifics here.
But do you know if there was another third-party investigator that investigated allegations made by Lieutenant De Silva against Lieutenant Russo since 2022?
I wouldn't know that.
Would that have been important to know as part of your investigative process if there was another investigator conducting investigation into the same allegations?
Vague and ambiguous is time. Incomplete hypothetical. You may answer.
Yeah, you say the same allegations. I'm not recalling that these specific allegations led to any findings. So in answer to your question, to try to answer your question, I don't recall that there was another investigator involved in this. Would that be out of the ordinary? Not really. But if there's different issues that happened at a different time or a different place, it's reasonable that there would be another investigator involved with the same people.
So it would be ordinary for a police department to hire two independent investigators to do concurrent investigations of the same allegations against an officer at the same time?
Incomplete hypothetical.
Yeah, you are saying the same allegations, and that's the part that I'm having a problem with answering.
So it's a different question. So it's a hypothetical.
Yeah.
In fact, let's have the court reporter please read that last one back, please.
Question? So it would be ordinary for a police department to hire two independent investigators to do concurrent investigations of the same allegations against an officer at the same time?
No, that would not be ordinary.
Who did you provide copies of your Russo report to?
Asked and answered. You can answer again.
Alex Soto.
Did you ever provide copies of the report to any other individuals at the City of Pasadena other than Alex Soto?
Not to my knowledge.
Did Alex Soto tell you that he wanted findings removed at the direction of any other person?
Asked and answered.
I don't remember that it was Alex Soto who told me that. I know I worked with Alex. He was my primary contact. So I can speculate that he's the one who directed me to do it. I don't know where anything came from before that.
What other changes to your report did the City of Pasadena request that you make besides removing findings?
Lux Foundation.
Other than spelling or grammar or one or two things, I don't recall anything.
Did the City of Pasadena tell you why they wanted you to remove your findings from the report?
No. Not that I recall. It wasn't anything unusual to me.
It was not unusual to you, is that correct?
Correct. Again, I want to say they could have said that at the very beginning, and I just didn't do it, and I overlooked it. So they were saying, they may have said, hey, the agreement was no findings, and I would have said, I'll take them out. Or they could have said, we don't want findings. I said, okay, I'll take them out.
Isn't it true that at your presentation to command staff that you presented findings?
I'd have to look at my PowerPoint.
So as you sit here right now, you don't recall?
No.
And you don't recall who was at that meeting?
I wouldn't know names of who was in that room.
Were there people wearing police uniforms?
Definitely command staff.
Okay. How do you know that?
They had their bars and their stars and those types of things on their collars, and I interacted with them. So yeah, it was command staff.
How many people were present?
Between maybe 5 and 10.
Were they all in uniform?
I don't know.
Was Alex Soto there?
I don't remember who was in the room.
Did you make any notes about who was present at this presentation?
I may have. If I did, I'd like to refer to them.
Okay. Well, I haven't seen them.
Okay.
So based on your recollection today, do you recall making any notes about who else was present besides yourself at this presentation to Pasadena PD about your findings in the Russo investigation?
About who was present, I don't recall those notes, any notes like that, which doesn't mean I didn't take them. I just don't remember.
Okay. And you don't remember if Alex Soto was there?
Asked
I
and answered.
remember he was my primary contact for HR. Whether he was in that room that day, I couldn't tell you.
Were there people not in uniform in the room when you gave the presentation?
Yes, the city attorney lady was not in uniform.
Okay. Is that the only person not in uniform you recall being at that meeting?
I don't remember. I just remember there were people in uniform, and then they were members of the command staff.
Okay. Did anyone at that meeting tell you that you were not authorized to include findings in your investigation report?
No, not that I recall from that meeting, no.
Did you receive, let's strike that, at some point did you ask if the command staff had any questions about your report?
In my presentation, I would say, does anybody have any questions?
Okay. Is that the end of the presentation?
I don't know at what stage I would have asked that.
Do you recall what questions anyone had about that report when you gave the presentation to the command staff?
All I know about that presentation is I know I did a PowerPoint, and I know that I turned it over for discovery. I would have to look at it.
How many investigations have you, strike that, since the Russo investigation, have you been retained to conduct any other investigations on behalf of the City of Pasadena?
Yes.
Okay. Are you currently engaged right now with the City of Pasadena doing investigations? No. Okay. When was the last investigation you conducted on behalf of the City of Pasadena?
There were two, I think, in 2024. There was the one involving the IT person who interacted with library staff, and there was one involving a Parks and Rec employee who was claiming discrimination.
Since the Russo report, have you been engaged to conduct any investigations on behalf of the Pasadena Police Department?
I'm going to say no, because I don't think so.
Okay. Do you expect to be engaged again by the Pasadena Police Department to conduct any independent investigations into their officers?
Calls for speculation.
Do I expect? No, I have no expectations.
Are you concerned that, strike that, is your testimony today in any way influenced by the fact that you would like to get future business from the Pasadena Police Department as an independent investigator?
Argumentative. You may answer.
Absolutely not.
Do you know a Commander Grisafi, Grisafe at the Pasadena Police Department?
I remember seeing that name.
Do you know if he was present in that command staff meeting where you did the presentation?
No, I have no idea if he was there.
If he testified in his deposition that you were instructed at that meeting to remove any findings from your report, would his recollection be inaccurate?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question, or reread the question for me, please?
Question? Okay, if he testified in his deposition that you were instructed at that meeting to remove any findings from your report, would his recollection be inaccurate?
Okay. Objection lacks foundation, assumes facts not in evidence, and misstates Commander Grisafe's testimony. You may answer.
I don't remember who told me, so I can't speak to what his response.
And the things that you're testifying to, you can't remember, there are no notes that you have that you're aware of today that would help refresh your recollection, correct?
Not in that regard. Nothing that I wish, but I don't think I have any.
Did the command staff interfere with your investigation in any way into Lieutenant Russo?
No.
Okay. Did anyone other than Lieutenant Russo and his attorney interfere with your investigation into the allegations made by Lieutenant Sylva against Lieutenant Russo?
No. Sorry.
Vague and belated objection, vague and ambiguous, and misstates testimony. You may answer.
No.
Are you aware of any aspects of your investigation were shared with subject Russo during the pendency of your investigation?
Vague and ambiguous.
I took testimony, I took interview statements that indicated Russo was aware of the investigation while it was going on.
Okay. Did that give you concerns about the integrity of the investigation?
Generally speaking, yes, that would be concerning.
And why was that concerning? And just so we have a clear record.
Sure. Because you want the investigation to be as confidential as possible. You don't want people to be aware of complaints and who's making them until they absolutely need to be.
So Russo was the subject of this investigation, correct?
He was.
How do you know that he was aware of certain aspects of the investigation prior to its conclusion?
Vague and ambiguous.
I recall getting a statement that Russo was aware of the investigation I believe from Lieutenant De Silva. I'm thinking here. I believe he told me that Russo knew about it because he heard a conversation or overheard something of that nature.
Okay. Besides any statement you got from, let's strike that, did you find that information to be credible?
Vague and ambiguous.
I didn't have any reason to doubt it, if that's what you're asking.
And what were the allegations that you recall of Lieutenant Russo being aware of aspects of the active investigation against him?
That I don't know how to answer. Try that again.
We'll have the reporter read that one back.
This is a test.
Question? Okay, and what were the allegations that you recall of Lieutenant Russo of being aware of aspects of the active investigation against him?
Vague and ambiguous.
Allegations regarding him being aware of the investigation?
Yes.
There were no specific allegations about that.
So what did Russo do outside of his interview that you felt undermined the integrity of the investigation?
Misstates testimony. Lacks foundation. You may answer.
Joy.
Are we talking about the first investigation?
Any of them?
What did he do to undermine it?
We'll have the reporter read that one back as well.
Question. So what did Russo do outside of his interview that you felt undermined the integrity of the investigation?
I would have to
Same
look
pictures.
at my report because I believe Lieutenant De Silva told me that Russo knew about the investigation because he overheard a conversation that Sam was involved in, Lieutenant De Silva was involved in. That could have conceivably impacted the investigation. That's all that I can tell you that I remember at this point.
Do you recall, well, what's a credibility assessment in an investigation like the type you did in this case?
You list some factors and then you list how those factors related to the statements and their testimony.
Did you make a
I listed some factors in each person I interviewed, yes.
Did you make a credibility assessment for Anthony Russo?
Yes,
What was your credibility assessment for Anthony Russo?
I'd have to read it.
So you don't recall, as you sit here today?
I recall there were credibility issues, yes. I questioned his credibility in certain areas, yes. I recall that.
What was your credibility assessment for Sam De Silva?
I'd have to look.
As you sit here on camera for your depo today, do you recall your credibility assessment was for Sam De Silva?
I recall that both De Silva and Russo were very adamant about their sides of the story, as though that they believed that to be fact. Each one of them had their facts that they believed were true. And I believe I wrote that in the credibility portions of my report.
Did you believe that Russo, strike that, did you write in your report that Russo had engaged in a misrepresentation of facts?
I have to look at what I wrote because that happened very proximate to when I talked to Russo. I wrote that, but I have to look and see what I wrote.
But if everything you wrote in the report you stand by?
I stand by that. I believe that to be true and I wrote it, yes.
Okay. Is there any reason for you not to believe anything you wrote in those reports to be true as of today, the date of your deposition?
I wouldn't have written anything I didn't believe to be true in my report.
So is that you saying you stand by everything you wrote in your report as being accurate at the time you wrote it?
Asked and answered. You can answer
Yes,
again.
at the time I wrote it, I believed it to be accurate. Yes.
Okay. As you sit here today, do you recall Russo misrepresenting any specific facts to you?
Asked and answered. I believe he asked for the report so he could reference it, but you may answer again.
I recall that he evaded my questions at certain points, that he talked around in circles at certain points, and that I couldn't get a direct answer from him at certain points. Yes, I recall that.
Okay. And it was frustrating not to be able to get a direct answer from someone you're interviewing, correct?
Frustration is not a proper word. It is what it is. It was the fact that he didn't answer my questions.
And that affected your credibility assessment of that witness, correct?
That would impact the credibility assessment. That is true.
Do you believe that the fact that you've been unable to answer about 20 of my questions today affects your credibility as a witness in this action?
Argumentative. You may answer.
No.
Why not?
Due to the time that's passed, there's certain things I just don't remember. I do a lot of these.
So I'm going to ask some questions about allegations and whether they were sustained, and your attorney's going to make objections. I'm just making a record. Okay?
Sure.
Okay. So do you recall if there were 3 allegations that you investigated against Lieutenant Russo? And we'll go through the report after our break. But as you sit here today, do you recall if there were 3 allegations?
Right now it's a memory test.
Right.
I recall the kick being a separate allegation. There are 2 other ones. I recall the allegations, one or two of them collected all the other things that I had heard. So whether there was one more or two more, I don't remember. And there was an additional one with the next report.
Can you repeat that, please?
There was an additional allegation with the following report, the second one.
With respect, we're going to get an objection in a moment, but I'm going to ask just to make the record. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Of the allegations in the first report, how many did you sustain?
I don't remember.
Of the allegations in the second report, how many did you sustain?
I don't know that I did findings on the second report.
Touche. In the first report, strike that. Did you share any aspects, strike that, did you share any information about your independent investigation with the Pasadena Police Department? Strike that question. Did you share any information about the investigative process you were undertaking with respect to the Russo report with the City of Pasadena prior to submitting your report to HR?
Vague and ambiguous as to which report.
Any aspect, you always share certain aspects with your contact at HR, and usually it could be any aspect. Hey, I need to talk to this person. Does he still work there? Can you arrange these interviews? I mean, any aspect, I'm sure I did share. I couldn't tell you what.
Did you share any material information gained from a witness interview in conjunction with either of your reports with the City of Pasadena prior to your submission of the report to the city?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Would that have been typical?
There's really no typical. Every case is different, and sometimes what you learn, you need to share with them.
Why?
Maybe it's something ongoing that maybe they want to take some kind of, interim action. Maybe it's, hey, you need to keep an eye on this because this is still happening, because they may be not aware of something that I'm aware of. So that would be one example, sorry.
I apologize, I almost jumped on your answer. Was there anything in this case where you felt that some type of interim action should be taken, insofar that you shared that information with the City of Pasadena in conjunction with this particular investigation?
Vague and ambiguous.
I can only speak to what would be typical, but I don't know what I shared with them on this investigation in that regard.
Would anything you shared with the city about this investigation during its pendency be reflected in emails?
Could be.
Okay. How many phone calls did you have with the City of Pasadena, not the attorneys, regarding this report?
No way of knowing that.
Because you didn't write it down anywhere, correct?
My notes are my notes. I don't know what else to do but refer to my notes.
Okay. As an internal affairs investigator, did you maintain, in the ordinary course and scope of business, telephone logs of each individual you talked to relating to each investigation?
I don't typically do telephone logs.
Why not?
Just another thing to do that I don't typically do.
Okay. Do you wish you had done one in this case?
I wish I would have invested in Bitcoin 10 years ago. So how do I answer that? Do I wish I would have? To answer that question, yes.
Did you in fact not maintain a telephone log in order to avoid creating discoverable documents in connection with any subsequent litigation?
Argumentative.
That doesn't enter my mind.
What percentage of the independent investigations you have done for police departments, what percentage of them have had findings or conclusions in them?
Vague and ambiguous.
Over the past few years, it's more that people just want the facts. So I'm a fact finder and they just want the facts. So over the past few years, it's probably typical that it's both. Some agencies want findings, some don't. I don't know how else to answer that.
But as you sit here today, you don't recall any writing, including a contract, which set forth that the scope of the investigation should not include findings.
Asked and answered. Lacks foundation, assumes facts not in evidence, you may answer.
I'm trying to recall the investigations I've done, and I haven't done any in about 8-10 months. I can tell you the same thing. Some of them want findings, some of them do not.
And can you tell me what percentage of the investigations you've done have had findings and what percentage have not? And I'll move on to the next topic.
No, it's fine. Lately, it's about 50-50. I would say in the past few years, it's about 50-50. Previous to that, most of them wanted findings. So however you want to extrapolate that out, what percentage over this last 10 years?
So what's the total? I don't know. I don't know your book of business. So how would you estimate the total?
Total, probably 20-25% did not want findings.
Okay. And that's the bulk of that has been the last few years.
No, the last few years it's been more like 50, 60, 70% don't want findings. Seems to be the trend.
So in this investigation, it was the Pasadena Police Department that made the final conclusions about whether or not these allegations were founded, correct?
Cause for speculation, you may answer.
That's every agency gets to make those findings. I just submit my story.
So do some agencies accept your findings?
I don't follow up.
Do you know if some agencies do not accept your findings?
That's their choice. I couldn't tell you with any of the investigations I do, I don't call up and say, what happened? Did you do anything? Did you accept my findings? I don't, that's not part of the deal. You submit your report and then you move on.
But that was the deal in this case, wasn't it? When they called you and told you that they didn't want your findings in the report, correct?
In this case, they didn't want findings. Yes, that's accurate.
And they didn't want the findings after they saw what your findings were, correct?
Asked and answered, misstates testimony.
I
You may
can't
answer.
say that. I don't know what they read and what they didn't read. All I know is they wanted me to take the findings out.
So I agree. You didn't personally observe Alex Soto reading your report, correct?
Right.
Okay. Do you recall talking to Alex Soto about the report ever?
I recall him being my primary contact. You could tell me another name and then maybe I'd remember that. But I recall Alex.
What? I wasn't there, so I can't tell you another name. That's why I'm asking for...
Alex is my contact.
And you sent him the report with findings, correct?
Asked and answered. Answer again.
He was my primary contact.
I need a yes or no on that question. So
Okay,
I'll ask again. It's okay. So you transmitted a report with findings to Alex Soto, correct?
I can't state that. You're not trying to be argumentative here. I think there was another person in HR who I was working with, but I couldn't tell you who that is.
As an investigator, how do you define the term evasiveness?
I don't know how to answer that.
You
As a
don't-
person, we all know what evasiveness means.
Well, since I like a clear record, what's your definition of the term non-invasiveness?
Evasive.
What's your definition of the term evasiveness?
if someone isn't answering a question that they should have knowledge of.
Should you have knowledge about the fact that you transmitted a report to Alex Soto at the City of Pasadena?
I don't know that I transmitted it to him. I know that I gave them a report, but I want to say there was someone else involved in HR, but I can't tell you that as I'm sitting here today.
So you say you gave them the report. How did you give the City of Pasadena your report?
Typically, I will either email them as an attachment to the email. That's typically how I send copies of the report. I have used Dropbox in the past. I have used Google Drive. I have used OneNote or OneDrive. Specific to this case, I don't remember how I gave it to them.
Sir, will you concede to the jury in this case that you removed the findings of your report into Lieutenant Russo's misconduct after you transmitted the report to the City of Pasadena?
Asked and answered.
That's my recollection, yes.
We can take a break.
The time is 12:16 p.m. going off the record. The time is 1:07 p.m. back on the record.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm going to mark for identification, then hand you two exhibits. Your administrative investigation report into Anthony Russo, dated January 22nd, 2022. I'm going to mark and enter as 62.
Okay.
That's you, sir. There you go. And then your investigative report of the following day, January 23rd, 2022. I'm going to mark ID, same thing, and enter as Exhibit 63. I'll hand that to you as well, sir.
All right.
And
Okay, thank you.
these are from the city's production. I forgot to look at the bait stamp before I handed them over. It's fine. So I'm going to ask you some questions about these reports, and I'll give everyone a moment to catch up. In fact, for people on the internet, may I see these for a moment? The January 22nd report starts at bait stamp 4934. Once again, 4934. And then the January 23rd report begins at 0230. Once again, the January 23rd report starts at 0230 for those viewers following along at home or work. Okay, Mr. Bressler, this appears to be a redacted version. These appear to be redacted versions of reports you prepared, correct?
Okay.
So,
They appear to, yes, that's true.
and it says here they were created by you on behalf of Norman A. Traub, Traub Associates. Do you see that?
Yes.
What's your business relationship with Norman Traub and Associates?
I am just a contractor he uses to, they call me on cases to go work.
And
Contract employee.
so is the City of Pasadena a client of Mr. Traub, or is it a client of yours directly?
Mr. Traub, it's not Mr. Traub, it's another guy who owns this name. But they're a client of Norm A. Traub Associates, yes.
And do you recall earlier, you may or may not, we talked about someone named Carolyn Gordon. Do you recall that line of inquiry?
Yes.
Okay. And you didn't recall her?
I recall, I know of the name, I've heard the name before, I don't remember who she is or what part she played in this.
Okay. Do you recall if she was the head of internal affairs during the period of time that you conducted this investigation?
Very well could be her, yes.
Okay. Did you interview Carolyn Gordon in connection with either of these two reports?
I'd have to look.
Well, why don't you do that for us, sir?
Okay.
You have full control of the documents. You can look at them as you like to.
Okay.
Answer questions for the next few minutes.
Carolyn Gordon, I interviewed. Yes.
In both reports? Well, actually, you can go ahead and look. And
Okay.
while you're looking, can you tell me, did the witnesses change in between these two reports?
No. You're talking about the 2 reports of the first series of incidents, not the retaliation piece.
Just the 2 documents in front of us right now.
The witnesses didn't change. Carolyn Gordon, yeah, she's there.
So what changed between these 2 reports, one on January 22nd, 2022, and one the following day?
What changed?
Yes.
I would have to go through. I don't.
Would it refresh your recollection if you were told that there were findings that appeared in the January 22nd, 2022 document, which are redacted, by the way, in the version produced by the city?
Yes.
And those findings in the first 5 pages, and those findings were removed from the January 22nd, 2022, the January 23rd, 2022 version of the document.
Yes, I believe that's true.
Okay. I'm gonna reach over here 1 moment, sorry.
Okay.
As you sit here today, this is not a quiz. It's not a trick question, I promise. Is that accurate, that the only difference between these 2 reports is that you removed the findings?
There could have been a word or 2 or a name spelled differently or a location. As I said before, if there's something that's obviously technically wrong with it, I would fix it between the first version and the second version. Not going through word for word, I can't answer that.
Is it common for you to prepare 2 final versions on 2 subsequent days?
It's not uncommon if I find out that there's a mistake in the first one for me to produce the second one, as long as it isn't distributed.
And is it fair to say that the only material change in the content of the 2 reports is the deletion of your findings and conclusions?
To the best of my knowledge, that's a true statement.
Let's look at page 1 of either report. So I believe we're going to find out, but I represent the allegations appear to be the same as I just reviewed them.
Okay.
So you see page 1 of the report
Okay.
has allegations, and I'll read them to the record. I represent for the record that the allegations are identical. Allegation 1, Lieutenant Russo, over the course of his dealings with Sergeant Gomez, made false and misleading statements that were meant to harm or destroy Sergeant Gomez's reputation and standing at the Pasadena Police Department. Do you see that, sir?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to ask some questions, and counsel may object, likely will, so I'm just giving everyone a heads up. So with respect to allegation 1, in the earlier version of the report, there was a finding, correct?
Correct.
Okay. What was, bear with me, give your attorney an opportunity to object.
Sure.
What was that finding that is redacted in the earlier report?
I'm going to instruct him not to answer based on previously mentioned objections. There is a Pitches Court order indicating that findings and conclusions made by Mr. Bressler in his reports are to be redacted.
Okay. So are you taking your attorney's instruction not to answer?
Yes.
Okay. And I don't mean to be annoying, I just have to create a record.
I understand.
Okay. So,
You're fine.
thank you. I'd ask the court board to mark that as an instruction not to answer. Then we'll look at, actually, going back to allegation 1 real quick. Can we go back 1 page to allegation 1? Similar question. So make sure you give your attorney a moment to object. Were you ever told to change your finding as to allegation 1 by anyone?
Without revealing what the finding was, you may answer that question.
I don't recall that happening.
Okay. So is that a no?
That's an I don't recall that happening.
Okay, so it could be a yes or a no?
I can't speak to the semantics. I can't speak to verbiage. I can't speak to any of the different things that may have changed or may not have changed because I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't. There may be a word or 2 or yeah, I can't speak to that. I don't remember.
Did anyone instruct you to make any material changes to your finding as to allegation 1?
Asked and answered.
I don't recall anything like that.
Let's go to the next page, sir. Allegation 2 on page 2. Lieutenant Anthony Russo, over the course of his dealings with Sergeant Gomez and others at the sergeant and corporal level, conducted himself in a manner unbecoming a member of the Pasadena Police Department, which reflects unfavorably upon the department and its members. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. And the same language appears verbatim in both versions of the document, correct?
I believe so, yes. I don't see anything different.
Okay. What was your finding as to allegation 2?
I'm going to instruct him not to answer that based on previously mentioned Pitches ruling.
Are you taking your attorney's instruction not to answer?
Yes.
Okay. I'd ask Corporate to please mark that as a further instruction not to answer. Let's go back one page. I have a couple follow-up questions on 2.
Okay.
Did anyone instruct you to make any material changes to your findings with respect to allegation 2 in this report?
Not that I recall.
Okay. Let's go to the next page, sir. Page 3, allegation 3. Lieutenant Russo, during an Office of Traffic Safety funded DUI checkpoint event, in an apparent exercise of horseplay, kicked the leg of Sergeant Sam De Silva, causing injury. Did I read that correctly, sir?
Yes.
And that same allegation appears verbatim in both versions of your report, correct?
Yes.
What was your finding as to allegation 3?
I'm instructing Mr. Bressler not to answer based on the previously mentioned order from the court regarding plaintiff's Pitches motion on Russo's personnel records.
Sir, are you taking your attorney's instruction not to answer?
Yes.
Okay. I'd ask court to mark that as a further instruction not to answer. Sir, did any person ask you to change finding 3 relating to the kick to Sam De Silva in any material way?
Not that I can remember now.
Let's look at same page, methodology, and I've highlighted all this language. It says on August 9th, 2021, I met with Human Resource Manager Alex Soto, who summarized the allegations and provided me with documentation and background information necessary to initiate this investigation. Do you see that reproduced verbatim in both versions of your document?
Yes.
Is that truthful and accurate information to the best of your recollection?
Yes.
So you did have at least one meeting with Alex Soto, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Does that help refresh your recollection as to whether you had further interactions with Alex Soto regarding the contents of these reports?
I had further contact with Alex Soto throughout the course of this investigation between August and through the following year.
How about anyone else from HR? Did you talk to anyone from Human Resources, or was it only Alex Soto?
It would be in my notes.
Okay. But as you sit here today, do you recall contact with anyone else besides Alex Soto in Pasadena HR about the contents of these 2 reports you have in front of you right now?
I have from the start thought that I talked to someone else. I just couldn't tell you. I'd have to look at my documents and emails and my notes.
Do you remember if it was a man or a woman, the other person you spoke to?
No.
Okay. What makes you believe that you spoke to someone else? Just a vague recollection, or do you have a specific recollection?
It's a vague recollection, but I know over the years I've worked with Trish, and I know that there's somebody else over the years too who I've worked with there, and I couldn't tell you if they were involved in this or not without looking at my notes.
Do you know if Trish told you to remove the findings from your January 22nd, 2022 report?
I don't know who asked me to do that.
Okay. Do you know if it was someone from the City of Pasadena?
I'll say yes.
Sure.
To my recollection, yes.
How do you know that?
I don't know where else it would have come from. I mean, they could conceivably have talked to my boss and had him tell me to do it. But I don't think that happened.
Okay. So looking at methodology, I won't read the language again. It says you met with Soto, and he provides you with background information necessary to initiate the investigation. Nowhere in this document does it state that you were to not include findings in your final report, correct?
Not in this document, no.
If you had been instructed by Soto at this meeting on August 9th, 2021, to not include findings in your final report, would you have reflected that instruction here in this methodology narrative?
That does not go in there, no.
Where would that go?
It wouldn't go in this report.
Would it be documented anywhere?
It would be in an original document that maybe they have an agreement, RFP with Traub, where it would be in there, but I can't speculate on that.
But you are speculating, because you said, do you know for a fact that it is in an agreement with Traub, that there's a request for proposal that says no findings allowed in reports for the City of Pasadena?
No, I don't know that that's in there one way or the other.
Let's look at page 5 of your report. We're going to look at the highlighted section. It says credibility assessment. Is this the small narrative that we talked about earlier in your testimony about evaluating the credibility of a witness for purposes of this investigation?
Yeah, that's a general statement about the assessments, yes.
And it lists 4 bullet points, including plausibility of the witness statement. Do you see that?
Yes.
Briefly, what's plausibility of the witness statement?
Is that something that would have happened, that could have happened, that reasonably could have happened based on the circumstances as presented? Is it plausible? Were they there? Could they have heard it? You know, those types of things.
Okay. So as you sit here today, is it your testimony that you were instructed to remove the findings from the report in front of you by someone at the City of Pasadena?
Asked and answered.
My recollection is it came from someone at the City of Pasadena.
And do you consider that to be a plausible explanation of why the findings were removed from the January 23rd, 2022 report?
Argumentative. Give me answer.
What was the objection?
Argumentative.
Is it plausible that that could have happened?
Yes.
Yes.
Next bullet point is witness demeanor. Do you see that, sir? Briefly, can you describe witness demeanor, please? What that means to you?
Could be the way that they respond, like, are they answering the questions? It could be somebody who looks you in the eye and then you ask them a question and then all of a sudden they turn their head down. It could be someone who starts fidgeting when they haven't been fidgeting. It could be any number of factors involved in someone's demeanor. If they're talking loud and then they get quiet, all those things could play into it, depending.
How would you gauge witness demeanor for a witness who claims not to have knowledge about material events that are relevant to your investigation?
It would depend on the time factor involved. It would depend on what has happened between then and now. It would depend on a lot of things. Every case is different.
Next bullet point is corroboration. What is corroboration, sir, in this context?
Did you hear the same story from different persons, or is it something that's an outlier that they're the only person who said that? Well, then there's no corroboration that happened. Or did they say the same story that someone else told, and someone else told, and someone else told?
Next bullet point is motive. Do you see that, sir?
Yes.
What is a motive in this context?
Could be, does a person have a lot to lose? It could be, maybe they're good friends with another person involved in the case. It could be, do they have anything to gain by their statements? If they're taken one way or the other, it could be what kind of spin do they want to put on it? It could be, yeah, I think those are kind of the main ones.
You can put those away for now. We're going to move on. We may come
Okay.
back, but we're going to move on from
Okay.
this. So I'm gonna switch gears a bit. Why did you leave the Orange County Sheriff's Department?
Oh, I lived in Riverside County. I wanted to live closer to where I worked.
And why did you leave Riverside County for the Tuolumne County Sheriff's Department?
Because I wanted, my 20-year retirement kicked in, and that allowed me to be able to have some money to buy a house, and I wanted to live in the mountains always, so we moved our family up to the mountains.
And eventually you moved back?
Moved back.
Okay. Did you, it's not really, I'll ask this question, one silly question today. Did you get sick of the mountains?
I got sick of shoveling snow. That is true.
Back to serious topics. In this investigation, your role was to be a neutral party and to gather information for the client. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Would an investigator changing the findings of a report at the behest of a client undermine the independence of that investigator's role?
Not necessarily. You could learn different things. You could be advised of something that you weren't aware of. It depends. Every case is different.
In this case, did you learn any new facts in the time period between January 22nd, 2022 and January 23rd, 2022 relating to the Russo investigation?
I couldn't tell you. I don't remember.
But isn't it true that there are no new, strike that, but isn't it true that there are no factual differences between these two reports?
I would have to look through it.
Okay, well, we can take a break later and do that. But as you sit here today, do you know if there are any factual differences based on evidence or witness statements that you obtained that are different between the January 22nd, 2022 report and the January 23rd, 2022 report?
The witness statements stayed the same. I can say that. Whether anything was pointed out to me or any other perspectives, I can't speak to.
But as you sit here today, you can't recall any document where new facts were brought to light on January 22nd or January 23rd of 2022, correct?
Yeah, that's accurate.
Have you ever, in any other investigation you've conducted, altered a finding based on the request of a hiring agency?
Objection. Vague and ambiguous. Misstates testimony. Lacks foundation. You may answer.
I don't know if I've ever changed a finding based on what's been told to me by the hiring agency. I couldn't tell you. Like I said, sometimes you get different information, perspective. What I submit is what I submit. I don't. They asked me to take the findings out, I took them out.
What were you told was the reason for you to remove those findings?
Absolutely no other reason was given that I can recall.
You were just told to take them out?
Yes, because that is not all that uncommon to take out findings. I don't get into those kind of details.
So you followed those instructions?
I follow their instructions to take out the findings.
So did you follow all the instructions from Pasadena PD in connection with this investigation?
Lacks foundation. Assumes facts, not an evidence. Vague and ambiguous. You may answer.
Instructions? That's kind of not the right word. Again, I have back and forth with HR departments in every single case, and sometimes they point out things that I need to take a look at, and sometimes they don't. And sometimes I just take it from the beginning. Sometimes I work with HR if they have insights that I don't have. So I can't say for sure on this one.
So you said that's not uncommon, correct?
Correct.
So it's not uncommon for human resources departments to tell you to make material changes to your independent investigative reports, correct? It's not uncommon.
Misstates testimony, lacks foundation, argumentative. You may answer.
Yeah, I don't, material statements, I don't even know what. Typically, the gist of the report won't change typically. But again, I can't speak to this one. I don't recall anything other than they told me to take out the findings.
I would move to strike as non-responsive. We're going to have the reporter read that one back, and let's see. I would ask for you to give that one another shot, please.
Sure.
Question? So it's not uncommon for human resources departments to tell you to make material changes to your independent investigative reports, correct? It's not uncommon.
For them to tell
Same
me,
objections.
for them to tell me, that would be uncommon,
For them to tell you what?
to make material changes.
But in this case, you were told to make material changes, correct?
Misstates
that's-
testimony.
That's not what I look at as a material change.
So, it's maybe the most important question of the day, so I'll go slow. Is it your testimony that removing the findings, strike that, you sustained some of these findings, correct?
Objection. He's not going to answer what he
Can't
did.
answer that.
You already have it on the record that I've instructed him not to answer, and you've marked it, and he's not going to do it this time either.
Taking your attorney's instruction not to answer?
Yes.
Okay. I'd ask that to be marked. Madam Court Reporter, could we read back the previous question?
This one? Question, so it's not uncommon for human resources departments to tell you to make material changes to your independent investigative reports, correct? It's not uncommon.
So, true or false, sir? In this case, you followed every instruction given to you by the City of Pasadena in connection with your investigation, correct?
Vague and ambiguous, lacks foundation, assumes facts not in evidence, misstates testimony. You may answer.
I can't even answer every instruction. I can't even answer that.
Well, can you identify a single instruction by the City of Pasadena that with connection to the Russo investigation that you did not follow?
Assumes facts not in evidence, lacks foundation.
You're using the wrong word, instruction. They asked me to take the findings out. I took them out. I don't know how else to answer that.
Well, it's a little bit different question. It's a broader question. So the question is,
Okay.
did you ever say no to anything the City of Pasadena asked you to do in connection with this investigation?
Assumes facts not in evidence, lacks foundation.
It would come in as suggestions typically. And I know this is what you guys do, but the instruction to take out the findings was take out the findings. The other parts of this investigation are guided by the investigator, not by HR telling an investigator what to do. That's not how it works.
Okay. Well, it's a different question.
Okay.
So I'll try and slim it down a little bit. And I will say, yes, it's what we do, attorneys do, but it's also what you do as well. I mean, in your investigations, well, let me ask this question. When you do interviews, what is your goal generally from a witness? Is it to obtain accurate and comprehensive testimony regarding certain facts and events?
That's the idea.
So, based on that response, can you give me one example, and you might not be able to, that's fine, where you said no to any suggestion by the City of Pasadena regarding these Russo reports?
Not that I know of. It would be in my notes most likely, but I'm not having a chance to review my notes, so I don't recall anything like that.
Do you know, switching gears a bit, do you know if Norm Traub Associates has conducted any other investigations for the Pasadena Police Department other than the ones that you've been involved in that we discussed this morning?
I believe so.
Do you know if the Pasadena Police Department is a current client of Norm Traub and Associates for ongoing personnel investigations?
I don't know that. Sorry.
Slightly tweaking that question, probably the same response. Do you know if Norm Traub Associates currently has any active investigations involving the City of Pasadena?
I have no knowledge of that.
But none that you're involved in presently, correct?
No, I don't have any cases with the City of Pasadena.
And are you still working as an independent police investigator?
Yes. It's not police. It's just wherever the law firm directs Mr. Brock Avery to send me to do a case. So it could be Public Works, it could be a library, it could be anywhere.
So Brock Avery is the current owner of Norm Traub Associates?
To my knowledge, I believe he is, yes.
Okay. And when you say whoever the law firm tells him to send you to, what law firm is that?
I know he works with Lieber, Cassidy, and Whitmore. I don't know if he works solely with them or if he works with other firms, but that's kind of my understanding is that they're his primary.
Okay.
But even that could be different.
And do you know if that law firm specializes in defense of public entities?
Objection to the extent that calls for speculation.
Yeah, I don't know. Public employment law, I know that's their thing is employment law.
For public entities?
Well, I believe so.
Have you ever done an investigation on behalf of that law firm for a private corporation?
I've worked on a private corporation's case, but I don't know where it came from.
For Norm Traub Associates?
Yes.
Okay. How long ago was that?
4 or 5 years ago.
Do you know, as you sit here today, how many investigations Norm Traub Associates has done for the City of Pasadena?
No way of knowing that.
Just the ones you've worked on, correct?
I believe there were others. There have been others.
Why do you think that?
I just have it in my mind that there was other investigations going on with them.
Okay.
And you say police department. I'm saying the City of Pasadena. I don't want to be unclear here.
That's fair.
I'm fairly certain they have done work for the City of Pasadena other than police department cases and other than me. They've been a client for quite a while, I believe.
Have you ever, without disclosing identities, have you ever had a client request that, just yes or no, you don't have to give me more than that. Have you ever had a client request that you alter the findings of an investigation?
Incomplete hypothetical. Vague and ambiguous.
Yeah, again, I mean, if we're talking semantics, I could have changed some verbiage. I could have looked at different perspectives of things. I could have looked at additional information, so I can't speak to that question. I don't know that I have had ever an agency ask me to look at it again and make some changes if I felt it was appropriate.
Has it ever happened where you reversed a prior finding that an allegation was founded, and then after feedback from the client, you said, actually, the allegation is unfounded? Has that ever happened? And I don't want to get into private stuff, so
No, I
yes or no?
understand. I would say typically not, but I can't rule it out.
Okay. But as you sit here today, you don't have a distinct recollection of that ever having taken place, is that correct?
I have no distinct recollection of what you're saying, no.
Okay. Including in this case, that never happened, correct?
I'm saying I don't recall that happening.
Okay. So it could have happened?
Vague and ambiguous. I think I lost the thread. Can you repeat the last couple questions?
Question? But as you sit here today, you don't have a distinct recollection of ever having that taken place, is that correct? Answer, I have no distinct recollection of what you're saying, no. Question, including in this case, that never happened, correct? Answer, I'm saying I don't recall that happening. The main question was, has that ever happened where you reversed a prior finding that an allegation was founded and then after feedback from the client, you said actually the allegation is unfounded? Has that ever happened? I don't want to get into private stuff, so yes or no? Answer, no, I understand.
And the pending question is?
Question, including in this case that never happened, correct? Answer, I'm saying I don't recall that happening. Question, okay, so it could have happened.
Okay, vague and ambiguous, argumentative. You may answer.
Yeah, I don't recall that happening.
So, and I'll ask it just one more time so we have a clear record, because there was a
Sure.
readback. Is it possible that in this case, you were asked by the City of Pasadena to reverse a finding that you sustained against Lieutenant Russo during your investigation?
I don't recall that happening, but I also don't recall anything that didn't happen. So unless it's in my notes, I can't answer that question. I don't recall. Is it possible, you're asking? I guess in the realm of what's possible, anything's possible.
Based on your decades of experience as an investigator, would you consider your last response to be evasive?
No.
Argumentative.
I consider your questions to be hard to answer sometimes, but no.
So I'll ask it as simply as I can, sir.
Sure.
Did you sustain an allegation against Russo with respect to his treatment of De Sylva that someone at the City of Pasadena told you, change it?
I'm going to instruct him not to answer. We're not talking about anything, any findings he made. I've been giving a lot of latitude on whether the findings were removed, but whether he sustained or didn't sustain is specifically excluded from Russo's personnel records by the Pitches order from March 2024. So I'm instructing you not to answer.
Are you taking your attorney's instructions not to answer?
Yes.
As an independent investigator, do you feel you have any obligation to the public?
Vague and ambiguous.
Let me withdraw. I'll ask it a little bit differently. As an independent police, strike that. I'll ask it best I can. As an independent investigator of police departments, do you feel you have an obligation to the public?
I do.
What is that obligation generally?
To come in and present, to be neutral and to be fair and to put down on my report what I think is right.
Does that obligation include giving truthful and complete testimony in litigation involving your reports?
Yes.
Okay. So that's your intention today, sir, correct?
Yes.
Now, of the two reports in front of you, one dated January 22nd, 2022, and one dated the following day of the same year,
Mm-hmm.
which of these did you present to command staff, if you recall?
I don't know.
And I'll have belated ask corporate to mark the last refusal to answer as well. I forgot. It's just procedural.
That's fine.
Okay. Did you present, strike that, is it possible you presented both reports, or did you only present one version of the report?
I didn't present the report. I presented the case to them, if that makes sense.
I think it does, but just so we have a clear record.
Mm-hmm.
Would your presentation to command staff about the facts of the case have been influenced depending on which version of the report you were operating off of?
Vague and ambiguous.
Yeah, I can't see the PowerPoint. I don't have that information in front of me. I don't know what I presented and what I didn't present. I can't answer that.
So as you sit here today, do you reject your findings from the January 22nd, 2022 report?
Misstates testimony, vague and ambiguous. You may answer without revealing what your findings were.
Do I reject them?
Yes.
I don't reject my findings that I can't even read right now to see what they were.
Well, that part's not my fault. But
I understand. I don't know how else to answer it. I don't remember my findings. I wish I did. I wish I could.
so, is it your testimony to the jury, if cases is played in front of a jury, that you don't recall what your findings were in connection with the Russo investigation?
That's very accurate.
You don't remember what you said?
I don't remember my findings.
And one of the allegations here involved workplace violence, correct?
Vague and ambiguous. Misstates the allegations.
I don't know that I even qualified it as violence. I could have. It was horseplay.
You were a police officer for how long?
36 years.
Okay. If a member of the public walked up to you and kicked you in the knee, would you consider that horseplay, or would you have arrested that person?
Incomplete hypothetical, vague and ambiguous. You may answer if you can.
Yeah, I need more circumstances than that.
Well,
My kid kicks me.
Okay.
My little girl hits me.
But I'll be very specific. What was the last day or month you worked at, was it Desert Hot Springs?
Desert Hot Springs, PD.
What was the last day you worked there?
My retirement day was in May of 2015. The last day I actually worked a shift there, 2014.
Okay. If in 2014, when you were on patrol, a stranger had kicked you while you were in uniform, would you have considered that horseplay, or would you have arrested that person?
Incomplete hypothetical
Depends on the circumstances.
and calls for a legal conclusion. But you may answer.
Yeah, it depends. Why'd he kick me? So I don't know how to answer. Would I arrest them? I don't know. I need more information.
So I'll move on. Last question on this topic.
Okay.
So your testimony today is as a chief of police, if a stranger walked up to kick you on the street, you wouldn't have arrested them.
Misstates testimony, incomplete hypothetical, calls for a legal conclusion. You may answer again.
We have discretion on who we arrest and who we don't.
Well,
It would depend on the circumstances.
So those are the circumstances. You're in public and a stranger, and you can give me whatever answer you want. I would just like an
Sure.
answer.
Does he have sound mind? Is he messing around? Does he think I'm somebody else? There's all kinds of different situations here.
Let's say someone who is of sound mind enough to be a police officer kicked you.
He'd be like, what are you doing?
Incomplete hypothetical, calls for legal conclusion.
What'd you do that for?
Have you ever arrested anyone in your career for assaulting you?
Yes, I definitely yes.
Okay. How many times has that happened?
Oh God, 36 years. I don't know enough.
Has anyone ever hit you or kicked you and you said, you know what, it was just horseplay, I'm not going to arrest you? Has that ever happened?
If you want to talk about horseplay, I don't remember that. I remember people hitting me who I didn't arrest.
Okay, fair enough. How many times did someone hit you and you didn't arrest them?
I couldn't even begin to speculate that. You go to different scenes, you're in domestic violence, and you arrest the husband, and the wife starts pounding on you, and you're like, back off. You take him out of the room, you don't arrest her.
How seriously do you take workplace violence?
Very seriously.
Would you agree that that's probably the most serious thing that can happen in a workplace in terms of public concern and employer concern?
Vague and ambiguous, calls for a legal conclusion, calls for expert testimony. You may answer.
Yeah, it depends on the degree.
Everything's different based on the specifics of the facts, based on the facts. Workplace violence is a bad thing. Yes.
And sometimes you investigate allegations of workplace violence, correct?
Correct.
Okay. how many individuals don't anticipate? I'm sorry. You smirked at me, and this. I don't mean to be silly. I'm sorry.
No, you're not. You're doing
Okay.
fine.
All right. You are too. I appreciate it. So, sorry to have a chuckle. We need a little bit of levity at 2 p.m. Okay, I'm better.
Okay.
I've calmed myself. I apologize to everyone. Okay. So, how many people told you, and it's such a serious topic, I apologize, Mr. Sylva, I shouldn't be smirking. How many people reported to you that Russo made unwelcome physical contact on Sam De Silva, including Mr. De Silva?
There was one person who I believe saw either right before or right after it happened. As I recall, their testimony was they saw, and I don't know if they saw him walking up to De Silva or saw him after or saw what actually happened. But I think there was one person who I talked to who saw that, who corroborated the story.
So would that mean that there was 2 people? It was De Silva reported the incident, then there was a corroborating witness?
Correct.
Okay. And Lieutenant Russo denied that the incident took place, or did he admit the incident took place?
I'd have to look at his statement.
Okay. Do you want to do that real quick?
Sure.
Okay.
He's kind of at the back, as I recall. And I don't have the transcripts in front of me either. So, okay. His first answer was, I don't recall.
Did you find that response to be evasive?
In the context of all of this, yes. Why?
Tell me why.
It was a very distinct thing that you don't usually do, and I felt I was doubtful that De Silva was lying to me about it, and I felt like if you're going to kick somebody like that, you'd probably remember it.
Did Lieutenant Russo's testimony with respect to whether or not the event took place later change?
Yes.
How so?
He went from, no, I didn't, no, I don't recall, he said, and then he said, if I did it, then he never reported it because I would have remembered that and then he went on.
And did you find that testimony to be credible?
No.
Why not?
I felt like it would be something that he would remember.
And did he have a motivation to not be truthful and forthcoming in your interview with him?
I think my motivation statement was that he had a lot to gain by not having done this, and he had a lot to lose by having done it.
How many interviews did you conduct of Mr. Russo in relation to this specific investigation?
One.
And that was the one with the obstreperous attorney?
I hope that's right. I don't recall a second interview.
Okay, it's not a material difference, but
Okay.
you recall one interview.
I do. I recall one interview.
Okay.
And yes, the word you used.
Obstreperous.
Yes, that.
That's an accurate depiction of the person's conduct?
I believe so.
What computer did you use to prepare these reports? Was it a personal computer or was it a Norm-Traub computer?
It would have been a desktop that I had in 2022. And January 2022, 2021, 2022.
Was that a desktop that was located in your home, or was it located in an office run by Norm-Traub Associates?
That was at my home.
So you wrote this report from home?
Yes.
Okay. Nothing wrong, I'm just curious.
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever go into the office at Norm-Traub Associates, or you always worked remotely?
I don't recall ever going into Norm-Traub's, the offices of Norm-Traub and Associates.
Where are those offices located? What city? Do you know?
He's in Westlake Village, I believe. I don't know if this is even his the real address where he's at. He may work out of his house. I don't know.
Do you still have the electronic files, the Word versions of these documents stored somewhere?
I do have, well, as of 3 or 4 days ago, I did. My computer is currently, will not power up, so I took it in for repair. I don't know if I'm ever going to see any of it again.
Okay. And so your computer failed after you got the, let's strike that. When did you get notice that you were being deposed in this case? Approximately.
It's been a couple weeks.
Okay. So after you received the notice to produce documents, that's when your computer failed, correct?
My computer failed to power on what's today?
Thursday?
Monday. Monday it won't power on. I took it in.
So the only versions of the documents you have are stored locally on that computer?
They're locally on the hard drive of the computer that's in the computer shop.
Okay. Were they ever uploaded to a Google Drive or a Microsoft OneDrive or Dropbox, any cloud storage service of that
I
nature?
believe they were uploaded to Dropbox.
Was that a personal Dropbox or was that Norm Traub's corporate Dropbox?
I believe Norm Traub doesn't use Dropbox. It would have been a personal Dropbox.
And you use a personal Dropbox to back up work files?
To transfer a file to an agency, I'll send them the link to the Dropbox to pull off the reports.
Okay. Do you know if that's what you did in this case? You sent the Pasadena HR department a Dropbox link to this report?
I don't know.
Okay. Do you know if you produced any emails where you had a Dropbox link where you transmitted these reports to the City of Pasadena?
Very possible.
Okay. So if you had it, you gave it to your attorney?
If I had it, it went to the attorney, yeah.
Okay.
But the Dropbox question, I can't recall exactly what link I used for this case.
It wouldn't have been by text message, it would have been via email you would have sent the link, right?
Oh. Typically email.
Okay.
Yes.
From the Yahoo address we looked at earlier?
It could have been from my Gmail address as well.
Okay. So you have a Yahoo account that you use for work, and then you have a Gmail account you use for work, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And do you now use one more than the other, or why do you use two different? Not that there's anything wrong with it, I'm just curious what the
Just
deal
I
is.
use Gmail more on case-specific stuff, and I use the other one more on general business stuff. But that's changed over the years as well.
How so? You know what, not that important, we'll move on. Okay.
Okay.
Well, I try and be very respectful of everyone's time, so we'll do that. Are you an expert in investigating workplace violence?
No.
How many workplace violence cases have you investigated in your career as a independent investigator?
Oh, man. You can define workplace violence as violent threats, assaults, so I would say a handful. It's not like I have a workplace violence, specialty or anything.
Are you aware that such a specialty or certificate exists?
Sure.
It
I'm
does?
sure it does. I mean, every other specialty has a certification. I don't have it.
So you think there's, I'm not being facetious,
No.
you think there's a workplace violence investigation certificate out there?
Calls for speculation.
There's all kinds of certification stuff out there. I can't say.
But you don't have one?
I do not have one.
Okay. Do you know if employers in California are required to take affirmative steps to prevent workplace violence?
Very ambiguous. Incomplete hypothetical. You may answer.
I know most do, big employers, for sure.
How about police departments? Are police departments required to take steps to avoid workplace violence?
And calls for a legal conclusion. Incomplete hypothetical, vague and ambiguous.
Yeah, I can't answer that. I don't know.
How about the police department you ran at Desert Hot Springs? Was that department required to take steps to prevent workplace violence?
That was 11 years ago, and I don't know what the requirements were then.
Okay. Is it possible that the city of Desert Hot Springs did not have a workplace violence policy in its police department?
Desert Hot Springs, yes, that's possible.
But as you sit here today, you don't recall, and you're not familiar with that policy, correct?
I'm very familiar with general workplace violence policies. And I'm thinking back to Desert Hot Springs because I did the policy manual, and we did eventually get a workplace policy, a violence policy, because it's part of Lexipol, and we subscribe to Lexipol.
Okay. And just so we have a clear record, Lexipol, it's Lexapol?
Lexipol.
And just for the record, can you tell us what Lexipol is?
They do a standardized manual for law enforcement, and then you can customize it to your agency.
And the city of Pasadena had a workplace violence policy during the period of time you investigated Russo, didn't they?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. And that you incorporated that policy into your report, correct?
I'd have to look.
Well, why don't you look at allegation 3
Sure.
again, on page 3. And I may be mistaken, but is there a policy referenced under allegation 3, the kicking incident?
The policy referenced is a horseplay resulting in injury or property damage.
Did you characterize, strike that, did De Sylva suffer an injury as a result of being kicked by Lieutenant Russo?
He told me he did.
And do you have any reason to believe that that testimony to you was not truthful?
No.
Okay. In fact, Mr. De Sylva reported to you that he reported that he had a knee surgery as a result of the kicking, correct?
I recall that.
Did you ever look at those medical records?
Not that I recall.
Remind me again how long you were the chief at Desert Hot Springs?
I was an interim police chief. First I was acting for a handful of months. It seems like it was about a year.
During your supervisor experience at any law enforcement agency, were you ever involved in investigations of workplace violence within the department, to the best of your recollection?
Ever.
As a manager, so not as a deputy.
Became a manager in 2005. I worked 10 years after that. I don't remember any workplace violence cases specifically, no.
All right, let's take 5 minutes. Okay, we'll take 5.
The time is 2:05 p.m. going off the record. The time is 2:15 p.m. back on the record.
Based on your experience as an independent investigator, is it typical for an investigation to be given to an outside investigator and then later concluded by an inside investigator?
Vague and ambiguous, incomplete hypothetical.
Again, once I turn in the investigation, it's final, it's accepted. I don't know what they do with it after that. I know they don't have to do anything with it. They don't have to accept it. They can do more. They can do whatever they want.
But isn't it true that a department does have to do some things with the report? And bear with me.
Sure.
That if there's an allegation of officer dishonesty, that they would be required to report that under SB 2.
That's a specific requirement, yes.
Do you know if Lieutenant Russo was reported to post by the Pasadena PD under SB2?
Calls for speculation.
No idea.
Based on your experience with internal affairs investigations, so going back to your time as a sworn officer, is it typical for a lower ranked individual to investigate a higher ranked individual within a police department or a sheriff's department?
No, not typical.
Why not? Or better, let me ask a better question. What's the problem with having a lower ranked person investigating a higher ranked person within their own department?
Lacks foundation. Incomplete hypothetical, you may answer.
There's too many potential problems with that. The lower ranking person works for the higher ranking people. So, but that's not to say some agencies don't have internal affairs sergeants who investigate wrongdoing from captains and lieutenants. Every agency is different.
But you don't consider it to be a good practice?
If you're asking my personal opinion, no, not in this day and age.
I have nothing further for this witness.
Okay, I think Christina wanted to ask questions. Can we take a break?
Sure.
Because I know she was tied up.
Well, I think she's gone.
Yeah, if we could take like a 5-minute break, I'll get her back.
Let's go off the record.
Okay.
I think.
The time is 2:17 p.m. going off the record.